Hello. Let's take a look at how we are compensated for our efforts in treating patients in the service and how this compares to a civilian practice. We'll inform you of the financial benefits that you will receive in the military and to let you know that there's a lot more to the story. What makes a career in the military unique? Here are just a few examples. It affords many opportunities to travel and experience different locations and cultures, provides numerous educational opportunities, including in-house continuing education programs and some of the best residency programs on the planet. In addition, the military provides you world-class group practice setting, cutting-edge research, and the best patients you could ever want. This presentation will focus on the financial aspects of military dentistry, in particular, Army dentistry. So let's look at what our military salary is really worth by comparing not only the salary of dentists in the United States, but also to other professions and the general population. We'll examine educational debt, residency cost, various forms of hidden income contained within our military salary, and special pay. Throughout this presentation, we will highlight how a military salary at various ranks, along with time in service, compares with civilian income. We'll then take a look at retirement. We are making the assumption that you will retire someday and not work until the day you die. It's never too early to think about how to achieve a comfortable retirement as you wind down your career. How can the military help make this happen? Well, let's take a look at the stock market and the retirement income hidden within your military salary. We understand that for some, a military career is based on factors other than simply financial. However, we'll show you that for the most part, the income is comparable, if not better, than our civilian counterparts. Okay, let's talk about money. This chart comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the American Dental Association 2010 Survey of Dental Practice, which shows the mean annual salary for dentists and dental specialists. As you can see, dentistry is a great profession. Here we see from the January 2014 Bureau of Labor Statistics a comparison of some of the best paying jobs in America. Again, you can see dentistry is a great profession. Note, this is the median, not the mean. When the question of educational debt was asked, it was immediately apparent that the debt of the average recent graduate in the dental corps was less than half that of other graduating dentists. Obviously, the HPSP and ROTC scholarships have a lot to do with this. Now let's talk about the financial benefits of being in the military. Let's start with postgraduate training. Note, this is tuition only. The American Dental Education Association states, the average dental student graduates with upwards of $241,000 of student loan debt, an increase of over 66% in the last decade, and an amount vastly exceeding the national average. This debt can jeopardize a new dentist's ability to choose their preferred career path, while rising educational costs might also discourage potential students from pursuing dental school altogether. This slide illustrates what the average cost savings are to you, paid by the Army. This shows the average tuition and stipend that one would expect from an AEGD program compared with that same training in our military programs. Your salary would be the difference between the two. If you were fortunate enough to be selected for the Army AEGD training, your salary would be more than double the salary of your civilian counterpart. Where does the military pay come from? Look to the Army Finance and Accounting website, dfas.mil. If you add up your base pay, basic allowance for subsistence, BAS, average basic housing allowance, BAH, and general dentist incentive pay, GDIP, you have almost $90,000. We'll address the various special pays later in our talk. BAS is meant to offset costs for meals and is in addition to your base pay. BAH is an allowance to offset the cost of housing when you do not receive government-provided housing. BAH varies by location, but the average of all locations is $19,746. What's with this tax benefit? Well, both BAS and BAH are exempt from federal and state taxes and excluded from Social Security taxes. The added benefit for this salary would be approximately $6,200 in tax savings. The more you make, the larger the tax break. This does not even include the fact that you may be from a state that doesn't tax active duty military pay. This chart lists tuition and stipends for traditional specialists compared to entry-level military pay. The differences in salaries are even more pronounced between military and civilian programs. In fact, you would need to get another loan to attend most of these programs. Note that in many residencies, the average tuition is more than the stipend. Many civilian residents moonlight in their senior year. Moonlighting adds to the resident's income, but additional time is spent away from studying, families, or hobbies. The $89,755 is the salary assuming that you start the residency within 2 years of entering the Army. If you enter the residency later in your career, your salary will of course be higher due to an increase in base pay. You can see how being in a military residency will not only provide you with a greater salary, but will also reduce your debt. Now let's discuss military pay itself. When you ask most military dentists, they will say that their income is less than their civilian peers. However, there's more to the picture besides simply the paycheck. In order to objectively compare military and civilian compensation, you need to include all forms of compensation that the military provides automatically in the form of benefits. Let's first look at the hidden income. Here is a list of items that are not included in your paycheck that must be considered when comparing your salary to your civilian peers. We already talked about the tax savings for BAS and BAH. Depending on your rank and whether you have a family, the savings can range from $5,500 to $15,000. The majority of dental officers live off post, but depending on where you are stationed, it may be an advantage to live on post. If you do live on post, then you would not receive BAH. However, you aren't paying for an apartment or house or the cost of utilities. When you add up other hidden incomes, the additional increase to your pay would be the equivalent of $57,000 to over $100,000 per year. When you add in the additional special pays that you may receive, your income then starts to look very competitive with your civilian counterparts. That's not to say that in the end, there may be factors that lead you to decide on civilian practice. However, you owe it to yourself to make an honest comparison of the total financial package. You have to do the math. Let us show you. Malpractice insurance policies cost approximately $1,000 on an average per year, but can definitely be higher depending on your specialty and region. We will address in detail the hidden cost of disability insurance and what it's worth to you. Disability insurance is often overlooked, but it is very important. Nobody plans on having a stroke, getting cancer, or developing a chronic illness. How many people out there own a motorcycle? How many people may be involved in an automobile accident, or be injured in a skiing accident, or while working outside? Yes, it is something that might never occur, but if it does, could be devastating to your practice. The ADA offers disability insurance, but only up to 60% of your income, which is usually underreported. There's also a waiting period of at least 30 days. That means your income stops for 30, 60, 90, up to 180 days after you become disabled, depending on your coverage. An ADA-sponsored insurance company gave a price quote for the median income of $132,000 for disability insurance. Now earlier, the real median income of dentists was $145,240. This shows how underreporting affects the bottom line. You not only need insurance for yourself, but also a practice overhead policy for your practice. Can you get a cheaper policy? Sure, but you'll need to have a longer waiting period. The ADA does not offer disability insurance for the first 30 days. You can find other companies that will offer it as a second policy, but it is very expensive, at least as much as your regular disability insurance. The best thing about military disability is that there is no waiting period, no lost income. Here again, since most disabilities are temporary and you recover within the first 30 days, this is significant. There are also no prohibited legal activities. Some disability insurances charge extra for skydiving, scuba diving, etc. In addition, 100% of your salary continues until it is determined that the disability will be permanent, which can often take a year or more after the disability occurred. All right, we've talked about the hidden income from tax savings, malpractice insurance, and disability insurance. Now let's talk about medical insurance. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the active duty medical benefit costs an amazing $29,000 per year. There is no deductible, no catastrophic cap, and no specialty referral limitation. The Kaiser Foundation reported that the average employer family medical insurance package costs over $15,473 per year, of which the average employee pays $4,236 towards the costs. If you are in private practice, you will be paying the full bill for you and your employees. Even if you are an associate in a private practice, you may not be included in their group health insurance, leaving you responsible for the policy. Because your medical benefits grow over time as your family grows, the medical plan is worth at least $15,000 per year. Depending on the health of you and your family, this figure is definitely on the low side. But to be fair, we will keep it very conservative at only $5,000 per year for a single individual, you. All right, we've talked about the hidden income from tax savings, malpractice, disability, and medical insurance. Now let's address vacation before we cover retirement, as vacations are the practice runs for the big R, retirement relaxation. On the subject of being away from your practice, most civilian staff dentists have up to 14 days of eligible leave time, whereas in the military, it is 30 days. The extra 2 weeks pay, based on the median income of $145,240, is equivalent to over $5,586. If you are in a practice that does not offer paid leave, the benefit of 30 days leave can add up to over $11,000. When you take leave in private practice, you may make zero. But the other part is that you have the practice headaches of taking leave, hiring someone to cover for you, or simply not taking time off because you can't. Big quality of life difference. Let's look at other paid days off. Depending on whether you receive training days off, you will receive between 10 to 20 paid days off for holidays. The Christmas schedule is also an opportunity to receive further paid days off. So the total number of paid days off would be approximately 2 months. So, adding up the hidden incomes from tax savings, malpractice insurance, disability insurance, medical insurance, and paid days off, you're looking at an additional income of between $16,000 to $46,000 per year. And guess what? We haven't even talked about the largest hidden income of all, the hidden income from retirement, the big R. Before going into retirement income, let's do a quick review. Before going into retirement benefits, let's talk a little bit about the stock market. But first, a disclaimer. The figures shown throughout the presentation are accurate to the best of our knowledge. You may want to do your own research to verify the numbers, and we encourage it. It's your future, so do the math. All figures stated in the talk are referenced. How many of you have heard that the stock market returns an average of about 10% per year? A 10% compounded rate of return is supposed to double your money every 7 years. If you are a clever investor, you should be able to do even better. We wish that this was true, but when looking at the average stock market returns based on the S&P 500, then indexed for inflation, the average rate of return is only 6.6% over the last 30 years. The vast majority of day traders lose money on the stock market. What happened to all those day traders that were on the cover of money magazines in the 90s? You can bet that the majority of them are not in the same rosy financial situation. During the period of 1982 to 2012, the stock market, throughout its numerous ups and downs, has returned an annual return of 10.8%. And that sounds great. But when you average in inflation, expenses, and taxes, the return on stock throughout this period has only averaged 5.79%. This average includes outliers on both ends of the spectrum, those that have struck it rich through the stock market, but also those that have lost the majority of their life savings and/or retirement. The stock market is always a risk. All right, let's look at the real rate of return in the stock market. Let's say you had a $100,000 initial investment, and that in the first year you had a 100% gain on your investment. And in the following year, you had a 50% loss on that same investment. What would be your average rate of return, and what would be your real rate of return? Well, your average rate of return would be 25% per year, which is an outstanding rate. But what is your real rate of return? It would be 0, because you would have wound up with the same amount of money that you started with 2 years ago. So unless you are a very knowledgeable stock investor, it's probably best to diversify in other ventures such as mutual funds, CDs, money markets, T-bills, and real estate. If you don't want to gamble with all of your money, some of it needs to be in a safe investment to be certain that it will be there when you retire. Some will argue that the value of the practice is the private dentist retirement fund. The counter argument is that there is no guarantee the practice will sell. In today's market, it is a buyer's market, and many retiring dentists cannot find a willing and qualified buyer. So, an investment that is as safe as your military retirement would pay 5% or less, because it would be there when you retire. The difference is that in reality, the investment would have to be tax deferred because you would not be paying any taxes on your hidden retirement fund while on active duty. Now that we have established a rate of return that is realistic, we are ready to determine what a federal services retirement is really worth. When you do calculations for financial investments, you have to make assumptions, and these are ours. First, the safety of the investment. Investing in a military retirement would have to be very safe, the equivalent of a treasury bill. Return on a treasury bill is usually right around the rate of inflation. Second, the percentage return on investment is considered to be tax deferred, allowing your principal to grow without tax loss. The monthly retirement income numbers are pre-tax and adjusted for 3.5% annual inflation. and the calculations are based on an 85-year life expectancy. It's like an annuity that will make level monthly payments and zero out the account at age 85. If you retire at 47, you will have a 38-year payout. If you retire at 55, you will have a 30-year payout. If you die sooner, it won't be worth as much. If you hang around longer than 85, it will actually pay more. Again, do your own math. We recommend you be somewhat conservative because it is better to be safe than sorry. If you recall, we placed the lower limit of the value of retirement at $40,000. This was based on a 7% return on investment, which would carry more risk. But we wanted to be honest with the numbers. Again, do your own math. Plugging in the figures, if a colonel were to retire this year after 20 years on active duty, the amount of their retirement compensation would be equivalent to investing approximately $59,788 per year at 5% interest, tax deferred, for those 20 years. If you are willing to take on the tough jobs, work hard, and do well, and with a little luck, you will get promoted to colonel at about the 18 to 20 year point. If you retire after 21 years of service as a colonel with 3 years at that rank, you can expect to receive approximately over $5,025 per month in today's dollars, equivalent to investing over $61,580 per year for 21 years. A 26-year retiring colonel can expect to receive approximately $6,762 per month, equivalent to investing over $49,880 per year for 26 years. A 30-year retiring colonel can expect to receive approximately $8,107 per month, equivalent to investing over $40,110 per year for 30 years. There are also a slew of additional benefits that may have more value than others. There may be some benefit or convenience at times, but not enough to influence a career decision. Let's take a look. The thrift savings plan can be quite significant depending on the length of time and amount that you contribute. It is similar to a 401k plan. The earnings attributed to your contributions are yours to keep, even if you do not serve 20 years for retirement. Death gratuity occurs if you die while on active duty, regardless of whether the death occurred in the line of duty. There is currently a $100,000 death gratuity that is generally tax-free, at least for federal. Basically, this is like having a $100,000 life insurance policy without paying the premiums. If you have injuries or diseases incurred or aggravated during active duty service, you may be eligible for medical disability payments or VA disability payments, which are tax-free. Let's not forget the post-9/11 GI Bill that pays up to $20,235 per academic year, which is the national maximum. There's also access to worldwide Armed Forces recreation centers, such as Edelweiss, Halekoa, Shades of Green, Seward, Alaska, and more. Again, these are only additional benefits, but we wanted to at least mention them. So we have addressed the hidden incomes that are contained within the overall picture of financial contributions throughout a military career. Now let's take a look at additional special pays that you may have the ability to receive. The HPOIP is the Health Professions Officer Incentive Pay. It consolidates the DASP and the VSP. It pays $20,000 per year. The HPORB is the Health Professions Officer Retention Bonus. It replaces the DOMRB. While some general dentists and all specialists are currently under the VSP DASP system, the legacy system, by January 2018, all incentive pays for all AOCs must convert to CSP. For the rest of the presentation, we will assume that 63 alphas will be under the CSP and specialists will be calculated under the VSP DASP legacy system. Board certification pay starts at $2,500 per year and maxes out at $6,000 per year for 18 years of service or more. To break down the numbers, the Health Professions Officer Incentive Pay, the HPOIP, consolidates the legacy system to pay $20,000 per year. The HPORB, the Health Professions Officer Retention Bonus, replaces the DOMRB, and as you can see, it varies by length of commitment. Note that the annual bonuses are paid in a lump sum less 25% taxes. The Health Professions Officer Retention Bonus, the HPORB, is only given to 63 alphas. It is a $13,000, $19,000, or $25,000 bonus paid annually in a lump sum depending on length of contract. The Dental Officer Multi-Year Retention Bonus, the DOMRB, is for those who have completed residency training. The bonus is paid yearly and depends on the length of contract. 2-year contracts for all specialists pay $25,000 annually. 3-year contracts pay $38,000 annually, and 4-year contracts pay $50,000 annually. AEGD 12-month program graduates who complete the self-paced Advanced Clinical Practice program are entitled to a 2, 3, or 4-year contract which pays $18,000, $27,000, or $35,000 respectively annually. Note, this is a bonus paid consecutively with any educational ADSOs. So, how do the bonuses in stage and military career compare to your civilian counterparts? For comparison, civilian AEGD programs pay an average stipend of $32,689. Just in pay alone, you are over $57,000 ahead of your civilian peers, without counting loan reductions from HPSP, loan repayment program, or accession bonuses, not to mention medical, disability, or retirement benefits. With the hidden income and retirement income, it's the equivalent of approximately $146,000. One of the big benefits of being in the military is the education. Not only is the education outstanding, geared to making you the best dentist you can be, but you get rewarded for the rest of your career by taking advantage of it. Military postgraduate dental education is a priceless gift. The income that you receive in the military while in specialty training is unmatched to that of a civilian training program. In this example, a captain with 3 years of service and in specialty training is already making what the average civilian general dentist would be generating in this stage of their young career. As a graduate of the AEGD 12-month program, you have the opportunity to receive Tier 3 DOMRB pay by completing a self-paced advanced clinical practice program. In this example, a captain with 5 years who completes the ACP program would have an income greater than the median dentist salary when taking into account hidden income. As a major with 8 years, if you completed your comprehensive dentistry or any other specialty training and accepted a 4-year multi-year retention bonus, your salary alone bumps up to $173,902. Of course, this does not include hidden and retirement incomes. Here we see the board specialty pay added. So what does BCP mean to you? In this example, if you completed your specialty training, earned board certification, and accepted a 4-year multi-year retention bonus, your salary alone bumps to $185,517. Again, This does not include hidden and retirement incomes. Again here, base pay of a lieutenant colonel with 16 years service is looking at over $200,000. As you continue in the military, your income continues to grow, and this is not even counting your own investments. If you are fortunate enough to have a successful career as a colonel, you should have a nice nest egg from your retirement income and your own investments. The guaranteed military retirement and medical coverage gives a retired officer greater flexibility when choosing a second career. The career choice can be based on personal desires, not solely on salary. Since people are living longer, the second career can be something to keep a person active. You can choose to teach, work part-time, be choosy about the type of practice, or choose a non-dental field of employment. Pro golfer, perhaps. So, there's no doubt that the Army Dental Corps will provide you a salary which is at least, if not better than, your civilian counterparts. You have to look at the whole picture and realize the hidden incomes that are included but not seen. You have seen that it is an outstanding deal for a general dentist. One question asked is, how does military pay compare to a specialist? The mean wage from the Bureau of Labor Statistics is listed above. As noted before, mean wage is generally higher than median income, but it is no doubt higher than the general practitioner. Each individual needs to look at the complete picture and decide if the Army Dental Corps is right for them. What amount do you need to make in order to live the lifestyle that you desire? How much does a guaranteed steady income matter to you? Only after considering the entire package can you really be sure of your decision. In addition to the pay, a military career affords the unique opportunity to travel and experience different locations and cultures. It allows you the opportunity to show patriotism for your country while providing an avenue in which to obtain your education. You not only have the opportunity to obtain continuing education and residency training, but you may also serve as a mentor in residency programs. You are able to work in a group practice where you can run ideas among peers and/or mentors and where you can concentrate on the patient without the hassle of figuring out billing or insurance. What a way to achieve professional satisfaction. Working with a highly trained team, serving patients who are dedicating their lives to protecting this country, and the best part is that their bill is always paid, and so are you. First of all, what is a personal statement of military compensation, a PSMC? It is a statement that is found on the MyPay website, which outlines the total value of your military pay, allowances, and benefits. The site requires a CAT card or password to access. The statement can be useful when applying for credit or loans, including home loans. So how do I find this statement? Go to the MyPay website. After clicking I agree to the terms of the user agreement, click on the second bullet under your Army active duty pay account. Below the LES, you will find the PSMC. What can a PSMC tell me? Take the total direct compensation on page 1. Add the federal tax advantage from page 2. Then add any additional expense a civilian employer would expect you to pay for, such as health and life insurance, retirement contributions, etc. This will tell you the approximate level of civilian salary you must earn in order to maintain a similar standard of living as that provided by your military take-home pay. Each section of the statement contains an explanation. Work through this statement and you will really see your true compensation. You will be surprised. The PSMC can be used to help determine whether specific civilian employment offers would allow you to maintain the same standard of living as serving in the military. So, remember that financial compensation is only one piece of the pie to consider in a military career. Look at the total picture and decide what is best for you and your family. Thank you very much for your attention, and it's been a pleasure talking with you. For more information on Army Dental Corps Advanced Training, visit the U.S. Army Graduate Dental Education website. For more information on the Army Dental Corps Leader Developmental Guide, visit the Army Dentistry Portal website.